In the last class, we have discussed about the xylem and phloem. These are otherwise called as vascular tissues, right? Xylem is a water conducting tissue, whereas the phloem is a food conducting tissue. What exactly the xylem and phloem are meant for plants? We already know that the plants reabsorb the water by the roots, and through the xylem the water is transported to different parts of the plant body, right? Then what about the phloem? Phloem is a food conducting tissue. As you know, the food is prepared in the leaves, but the prepared food transported to different parts of the plant body through phloem. Xylem is having different types of tissues. For example, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, xylem vessels, and tracheids, right? All these are supporting to xylem, because the xylem vessels and tracheids, they are all interconnected with the stem, root and leaves. Okay. Next, when we come to the movement or the flow of water, if the plant is very small, then the distance between the leaf and the root is very less, so that we can expect more functioning in this process. So the transportation will be more in small plants, right? Then there are two important processes involved in xylem and phloem, right? One is called the transpiration, right? Another one is translocation. Sir, what is this? Transpiration is nothing but the excess of water that is thrown out by the plant body through the aerial parts is called transpiration. Whereas translocation, the transport of substances or the transportation of the photosynthetic product through phloem is called translocation. These are the two important processes involved in transportation, transpiration and translocation. Here, phloem is also having several cells: phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers, sieve, tubes, companion cells, right? All these are assisting phloem in its transportation. So the translocation takes place with the help of sieve tubes and companion cells for upward and downward movement. That is very, very important. I think this is about the transportation in plants, right? So we have studied transportation in man as well as transportation in plants, right? Now, the last life processes that we are going to study is excretion. Under this, we are going to study different aspects. Basically, what is excretion? Excretion is a process in which the nitrogenous waste materials are thrown out by the body is called excretion. Right? Next, sir, how excretion takes place in unicellular organisms? Right? In unicellular organisms, excretions takes place by diffusion. That is diffusion. Okay. Whereas in multicellular organism, when we say multicellular organism, the highest level of organism is man. Right? In man, how excretion takes place? Naturally, when we compare two unicellular organism, here multicellular organism is quite complex. Multicellular organisms are having different types of cells, tissues, so on and so forth. Right? So, in man, there is a system called excretory system. Right? So, the organism is man. The system is excretory system, then excretory organs. Sir, which are the excretory organs in man? They are, number one, pair of kidneys. Pair of kidneys. Number two, pair of ureters. Number three, urinary bladder. Number four, urethra. So these are all the excretory organs of man. Right? So let us study one by one how the entire system is functioning with the help of these organs. Right? First one, basically, sir, where are the kidneys located? This is one of the important point. That's why I told you in the beginning, what is biology? Biology is knowing ourselves. We know that we are having a pair of kidneys, but where is it? We don't know. Right? A pair of kidneys are situated in the abdominal region. Abdominal region. Okay. It is situated in the abdominal region. One on either side of the backbone. If you consider this as a backbone, it is found here. Right? It is found one on either side of the backbone. Number one. Number two, sir, what is the color of the kidneys? The color of the kidney is reddish brown in color. Reddish brown in color. Fine. Sir, what is the shape then? They are bean shaped. Huruli ಬೀಜದ ಆಕೃತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. That is very, very important. Fine. For your information, ಇದು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೂ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ. Sir, what is the length of the kidney? What is the length of the kidney? The length of the kidney is about 10 to 12 centimeters. This is the length. Right? What is the width? It is about 5 to 7 centimeters. 5 to 7 centimeters. That is the width. Sir, then what is the thickness? ಅದರ ದಪ್ಪ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬಹುದು ಅಂದರೆ it is about 2 to 3 centimeters. And of course the weight of the kidney is 120 to 170 grams. 120 to 170 grams. This is the size, shape, color and the location and of course the details regarding the length, width, thickness and weight. Okay. Now, how this pair of kidneys filter. That is why kidneys are called natural filtering organs. They are called natural filtering organs. Okay. When we say kidneys, there are structural and functional unit of kidneys. Structural and functional unit of kidneys called nephrons. Structural and functional unit of kidney is equal to nephron. Nephrons. You just recall what is a cell? Cell is a basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Similarly, here structural functional unit of kidney called nephrons. Right? So, the nephrons are nothing but they are having a cluster of capillaries called glomerulus. Right? This glomerulus is connected with a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule. Along with that, there is a renal artery which carry the oxygenated blood to the kidneys, along with renal artery which brings oxygenated blood to kidney, along with nitrogenous wastes like urea, uric acid, etc. Right? Renal artery bring the oxygenated blood to kidneys along with nitrogenous waste, urea and uric acid. The first filtrate that is glucose, amino acid, salts, excess of water, all these are selectively reabsorbed. They have been first selected and then they are reabsorbed. This is called selective reabsorption. Right? Sir, how much quantity is reabsorbed? That depends on two important points. One is called the excess of water in our body, number one. Number two, nitrogenous waste to be excreted out. Right? ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಗಮನಿಸಿ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಒನ್. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ನಾವು ಅಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಂಬರ್ ಒನ್. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆವಾಗ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅಡಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಅದೇ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಒನ್. ನಂಬರ್ ಟು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಚೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೈಟ್ರೋಜಿನಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ದೇಹದಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ದೆನ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್, ದ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮೂವ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೀಷನ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ureters and they will have connection with the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a muscular structure, organ which is completely controlled by nervous system. This is called the collection center of the filtrate. So urine ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು, urinary bladder ಬಂತು. When it is filled, then it is thrown out through an opening called urethra, where the functioning of the sphincter muscles plays a vital role. That is, urine is thrown out by the body. Right. Here one more important thing is, per day in a healthy man, 180 liters of filtrate is formed. 180 liters of filtrate, but out of 180 liters, only 2 liters secreted out or excreted out as urine. Sir, then what about other 178 liters? There is a wonderful mechanism called reabsorption. The remaining 178 liters of the filtrate reabsorbed by the body. Fine. That's about the formation of the urine. Right? Next, sir, what is the importance of nephron? What is the importance of nephron? Nephron is very, very important because it thrown out the nitrogenous wastes. Nitrogenous waste like urea, uric acid, etc. Next, the basic question arises here is, right here, sir, what are the materials that are excreted out by the body? What are the materials excreted out of the body? So, there are 4 types of materials. 2, 3 and 4. Right? ಯಾವ ಸರ್ ಅದು ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸು ಅಂದರೆ ಮೊದಲನೇದು ನೈಟ್ರೋಜಿನಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಸ್. ನೈಟ್ರೋಜಿನಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್. ಸರ್ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜಿನಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಯೂರಿಯಾ, ನಂಬರ್ 2 uric acid, number 3 urine. Right? These are the nitrogenous waste that is thrown out by the body as waste. Sir, second one, excess of water. Excess of water. Right? Here, excess of water is thrown out by 2 ways. One by sweat, another by urine. Very, very important. We are having sweat glands. Sweat glands secrete sweat. When the external temperature is more, body cannot adjust to that temperature, so that the excess of water is thrown out by the body through sweat, which is secreted by the sweat glands through the sweat pore. The sweat come out of the body in the form of droplets. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಬೆವರು ಹನಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಬೆವರು ನಲ್ಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಬಿಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಬೆವರು ಒಂದು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಬೈ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನು. ಸ್ವೆಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಾಲ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಸಾರಿ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್. And fourth one is salt. Salt. Okay. ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟೆಡ್ ಔಟ್. ನೀವು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಬೇಡ, ಯೂರಿನ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ವೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಸ್ವೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು ಸ್ವೆಟ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಗ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ವೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. Definitely it will give you a salt taste. Salt taste. Andre it is having salts. Right? Here some of these salts are also excreted out of the body. Anta nodteve. Idishtu kuda excretion in man aitu. Sir, hagadre how about the excretion in plants anta? Now igagale plants ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. Okay, here plants, number 1, gaseous exchange takes place through stomata, number 1. Excess of water is thrown out by the aerial parts of the plant through transpiration, adu excretion aitu. Number 3, normally the trees or the plants, they will take out the old parts of the plant body, that is leaves, right? Old leaves or the bark, all these are thrown out. Okay. Number 4, there are certain plants which secrete the products in the form of resins and gums. That's also very important. Some of the excretory products, they get into the soil by the plant. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು excretion in plants ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Even the withering of leaves, ಹೌದಾ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ excretion in plants ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ. One is called the excretory system in man, which shows the pair of kidneys, the ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. Number 1. Number 2, very very important, structure of nephron. Structure of nephron. Now I will write the diagram of the excretory system in man and also the nephron, structure of nephron. You observe carefully, then you can practice, right? Okay. So the excretory system in man is having, I told you, pair of kidneys, right? And it is connected with the ureters, and then ureters are connected with a muscular bag-like structure called urinary bladder, and urinary bladder is having an opening called urethra, through urine is thrown out, right? It is very very easy diagram. The kidneys are bean shaped. Okay, kidneys are bean shaped. They are reddish brown in color. Okay, there are a pair of kidneys. Right. Then it is connected with ureter. Okay, you just observe the diagram, which is diagrammatically perfect. Okay, you just observe and practice. You can write a better diagram than this. Okay, this is ureter, and which is connected with a bag-like structure called urinary bladder. And there is an opening here called urethra. Okay, urethra. Now here one is aorta. Okay, you just connect this. Okay, now you just label the parts. Kidney, then ureter, urinary bladder, and opening called urethra. Urethra, okay. I think this is the diagram of human excretory system, right? Okay. If you write like this, the excretory system in man is 5. Pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra, and in here also you find the sphincter muscles. Okay, so this is excretory system in man. Okay, now I am very important is the structural and functional unit of these kidneys called nephrons. They are called nephrons. ಈ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬರೆಯುವಾಗ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು 2-3 ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಆಲ್ಫಾಬೆಟನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾ ಬರೀತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಲೆಟರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್. Now let me start the nephron, right? First, okay, ಇದು ಯು ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಯು ಅಂತ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ವೈ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ, ಹೌದಾ? ಇದು ವೈ ಕಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ವೈ ಲೆಟರ್ ಅಂತ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸಿ ಮಾಡೋದಾ? ಇದು ಸಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವಿದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಯು ಬರೆಯೋದು. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಯು ಆಯಿತು, ಹೌದಾ? ವೈ ಬರೆದ್ವಿ, ಸಿ ಬರೆದ್ವಿ, ಯು ಬರೆದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಬರೆಯೋಣ. ಐ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಲರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಲರ್ನಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಐ, ಹೌದಾ? ಇದು ಐ ಆಯಿತು. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಐ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂಚೂರು ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ಲೆಟರ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದೀಗ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್, ಬಂತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಈಗ ಬರೆಯೋದು. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ವಿತ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಇರೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಈಸಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಆಯ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಮೇಜರ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್ ಅಂತ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಕಪ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಬೌಮನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋದು ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುರುಲಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುರುಲಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಇದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್ ಅಂತ ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, there is a glomerulus that is having thin walled capillaries. It forms a glomerulus and it is well embedded within a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಇದರ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ glomerulus. Glomerulus. Okay, here a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. ಇದೆರಡು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಬೋಮನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸೂಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುರುಲಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್. ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇದನ್ನ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಸ್ proximal convoluted tubule ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮಲ್ ಕನ್ವಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನ, ರೈಟ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬೋಮನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸೂಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುರುಲಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮಲ್ ಕನ್ವಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯೂಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಕನ್ವಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಹೆನ್ಲೇಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. ಹೆನ್ಲೇಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್. ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಥಿನ್ ವಾಲ್ಡ್ capillaries, cluster of thin walled capillaries forming the glomerulus, and it is connected with a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, and then it is continued with a proximal convoluted tubule, then it moves towards Henle's loop, then the distal convoluted tubule, and of course finally collecting duct. So these are the two diagrams, very very important from the examination point, right? So this is the structure of nephron. This is the structure of nephron, whereas this is the excretory system in man. Okay, I think with this we have completed the first chapter, that is life processes, which includes the trend, that is transportation, respiration, excretion, nutrition and digestion with respect to plants and animals, right? I told you, similarly the plants excrete in the form of resins and gums. They lose the older parts of the plant, like the older leaves, the bark, etc., so on and so forth, right? So that's about the first chapter, life processes. So in this chapter you have to practice more diagrams, starting from opening and closing of stomata, section of cross section of a leaf, digestion in man, digestive system in man, respiratory system in man, then human heart, and of course the excretory system in man, and structure of nephron. Right? Okay, I think this is about the life processes. Read thoroughly, recall everything, and try to recapitulate the content of this chapter. I think in the next class I will continue with the second chapter, very very important, that is control and coordination. Right? Thank you. Okay. So today's assignment: define transpiration and translocation. Then write the difference between xylem and phloem. Then what is excretion? Draw a neat diagram of excretory system in man and structure of nephron. And of course, when we say that you have to draw the diagram, you must label the parts. Right? So that's about the today's assignment.